welcome to my 17th Flosstube. Today it is my anniversary actually. It has been exactly a year, well not exactly a year, but about a year that I've started my Flosstube channel. And I think my first video was on the 22nd of May last year. And we are currently, I think on the 17th, but I'm not sure, of May. And that means it is about a year ago that I started Flosstube. So I decided to make today a special Flosstube. So I have decided to make it a WIP parade. I have never done a WIP parade before. I don't think I've had as many projects ever before. So then a WIP parade wouldn't be as much fun. So now I have quite a stack next to me and I will go through it with you. These are all the patterns, all the designs that I've actually done something on. So there are plenty of designs and patterns and that I've got ready to go or that I've got somewhere in my stash, but I haven't started them yet. Those are not going to be part of today. Today it is just the things that I've actually started. And I would like to say a thank you to everyone who's been watching over the past year. I've really enjoyed Flosstube. When I posted the first video, I didn't know what I was going to expect. I really thought no one would find me on YouTube because the algorithm is something that no one really understands. So I thought I'll try, but I don't know what will come of it. And I just love it. I love having my little corner of the internet to talk about stitching and to have a lovely community to be a part of. And so I really enjoy doing this, and I want to thank you for watching. Now some of you watch, some of you subscribe, some don't, some of you comment and others don't. All of it is fine with me. I just hope you enjoy what you see and you enjoy being part of the community in your own way and in a way that you feel comfortable with. For those of you who do comment and engage actively, I want to say thank you again, because that's so nice. It's just lovely to hear what other people are stitching, or to receive a bit of advice, or just to hear that people enjoyed the video. Is very, very nice. So thank you very much for that. So I hope you will enjoy today. Those of you who've watched my previous video, my mum and I have been to Terschelling, and the weather was beautiful. It was almost summer. So we did a lot of cycling and we did a lot of just going around the island. It's for those of you who don't know, Terschelling is a small island in the north of the Netherlands. And it was absolutely lovely. So that's all done now. I'm back at work already. So yeah, it feels like a long time ago already. Right. What will we do? I have 4 new starts. I know. That's why I can now do a WIP parade. Because I've been starting so many things over the past year, but again, I'm loving it. So it's so fun. So yeah, I've got 4 new starts that I will show you, and then I have, I don't know how many WIPs. I think I'm about, in total, just over 20, I think. Now some of you will think, well, I could never do that. You don't have to, so don't feel like you have to start more and more pieces. I think the reason why I start new pieces is also because I have a Flosstube. But I also really enjoy grabbing a piece that I haven't seen for a couple of weeks and it feels like it's new. And I think that's one of the best parts of it. And I will show you an example later on of a piece that I found again earlier this week, and I've stitched on it so much and I've loved it. So I think that's also a reason why I really enjoy having more pieces on the go at the same time. So yeah, my first new start. before I went on holiday with my mum, I always like to have a few pieces with me that are easy to stitch. And I also sort of dived into the whole biscornu thing. I'd never made one, and I wanted to try one. And so I looked around, and eventually I found Modern Folk Embroidery, which is a fellow Dutchman who has designed um, eight sides, so you could make 4 biscornus out of that. And I love those. And I thought, oh, I'd love to make those. So I'll put it on the screen for you to see. And I've already finished one side of a biscornu that I will make at some point, because the other side obviously also needs to be made, and these are quite stitch heavy. Now I made this with the floss that I had left over from Colors of the Water by Historische Stickmuster that I finished for my mum. And then I had quite a lot of the Soie d'Alger silk left over. And I thought, oh, wouldn't that be beautiful? So this is all stitched in silk on 20 count, 1 strand of floss. And I think the Ada is an ivory 20 count Ada. So there you go. I love this one. Those of you who can read Dutch, I have written at the top the word boven, so that's the top of it. And the reason why I've done that, and I've never had that before, usually I know what the top is, but because this is completely symmetrical, I lost it at some point and I was stitching the wrong, into the wrong direction. So then my crosses were not similar. And so I had to take it out and start again. So yeah, that's why I wrote that down. Now this green is beautiful and it fits my house and it fits my dress. It fits everything. So yeah, I loved it. At first I wanted to stitch it with a lot of different colors, and then I thought, actually, I'm not a person who likes stitching and using, I don't know, 8 colors. It's just too busy for me then in a pattern like this. So I, again, took quite a lot of it out, and then I stitched with just a green color. And the idea was to use my leftover floss, and then obviously at some point I ran out of green, and so I had to buy new. So yeah, it's never ending then, isn't it? But I think it's very beautiful. This was a lovely pattern to stitch. And you know, this will be a biscornu, but you could easily just frame this or make it into a lovely regular pillow. But yeah, I have my heart set on making my first biscornu. And the next one I will do, I will pick from one of the other 7 and make the other side. Now I just have to rearrange again so I can put everything around me. I have also moved my camera just a little bit so you can see my beautiful teapot here. This is Royal Albert, for those of you who enjoy that. And this is the Moonlight Rose line. And the teapot arrived yesterday and I love it. So I thought you could look at it if you wanted to. Now my next one is a new start that I talked about last time. So this is very similar to Liza's French Birds, but I found it in a different book. I found it with completely different colors, and I will put. If you're interested in that, just go back to my previous video. It's at the end of it somewhere. And I started stitching it, and I wasn't sure, and I'm still not sure whether I will finish it, because I don't know if I like these colors. And as you know, colors are very important to me. I thought I would love it. When I looked at the colors in the bag, I thought, oh, that's very nice. But now I've stitched it, I'm not sure, because the color scheme of the bird, to me, seems like a completely different tone than the leaves. And I love the leaves. I think they come out very nice. I just don't know if I like the bird and the colors of the bird. So this I have stitched on 18 count Ada, and this is a marbled Ada that I got from Casa Serena. I think it's an Italian shop, and they deliver in the Netherlands. And I love the fabric. I think the fabric is very nice. Again, I just don't know about the colors of that bird. So the moment I finished that bird, it was the moment I put it away, and I haven't really been tempted to look at it again. And maybe if I finish the whole thing, it will all blend together. I don't know. So if you're watching, please let me know what you think of this, and be honest. If you don't like it, I can just put it away. There are other color schemes available of this, so I'm sure I can find something else. I do like the colors of the leaves again, that's pretty, and I like the little, whatever they are. It's just that bird. The colors of the bird don't sit right with me. But yeah, so I did start it, and it's a lovely pattern. It's very sweet. And then my idea was to start a pattern by Forest Owl Embroidery, Owl Forest Embroidery. And I think it's one of the free ones, and it's called Cranes. And I will put it on the screen for you to see. I showed it last time. I was very, very much going to stitch that. My fabric didn't arrive before I go on holiday, so I started when I came back. And I was just looking forward to it. And then when I started stitching it, I couldn't get the colors right. It just somehow didn't blend. And so at some point I just decided to put it away for a bit and come back to it later. So I haven't, that didn't feel like a holiday start to me. So I put it away. Then I decided that the holiday we had did deserve a piece to stitch, to remember it by, basically. And I found a piece, and I don't remember who is the designer. It's someone on Etsy. If you're interested in this piece, I will put all the details in my description box. You can always find everything there. And if you have any questions, just leave me a comment. And this is a very, it's quite minimalist, got basic colors. So it's stitched on a natural color, a lot of white and blues and a bit of gray, I think. And I think this is perfect for the holiday we had. So there is a bicycle on it. And there are little sailboats in the water. We saw a lot of them as well. So yeah, I think this is perfect piece. The only thing I'm not keen on is the fact that they've used colors in sort of a part of the piece, and then at the bottom all of it is white. So I've decided to stitch the little house in the scene, basically. I will stitch the house with the same colors as the lighthouse colors. And then maybe the little fence that's in front of it, I will use different colors for that as well, just so that the whole piece becomes more similar. So yeah, I started this one, and I think this is an 18 count or 16. It's beige, a regular color, and I've started it with white. And this has been a very pleasant, easy stitch to do. I haven't yet done anything by using a thread a day, but this I think would be a perfect piece for that. I don't know why I think that, but I might do it like that. It's been lovely stitching this, absolutely lovely. I hope you can see something. Try to peek around to make sure I get it into the camera. I stitched this with regular white B 5200 And then there's got two bright blues and a grey that come with it. Also, I've bought this lovely little needle minder from another fellow Dutch woman in this case, and that's Jessica from Jessica Stitches. I don't know if she would ship abroad. I am not sure. I will link her Etsy shop in my description box. Would you be interested? I think this is very, very cute. I love needle minders. Anyway, so that is my holiday start. And I love it. I might write Terschelling at the bottom or at the top. I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. We'll see. And for those of you who've never been to the Dutch islands, and if you want to go to one of them, my mum and I preferred Terschelling over the others we have been to. So yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful island. Now tonight I woke up and I was awake for a little while, and I thought about what am I going to do for my anniversary Flosstube, and how am I going to mark this moment and celebrate it. And then I remembered a pattern that I have been looking at quite a few times, and I am afraid of it. I am afraid of this pattern. So I thought, why don't I start that one and see how far I get? So I purchased it and started in the middle of the night. That's how things work sometimes. And it is Mix and Match, and it is from someone, again, I don't remember. I'm so sorry about that. But I put it in my description box. And most of you will have seen it. It's been around for a while, but I've never seen it on a Flosstube. That doesn't mean no one is doing it, because I cannot keep up with all the Flosstubes. But I have never seen it on a Flosstube. And this is a pattern where you don't get a full pattern, but you get a lot of little motifs and little thingies and some advice on how to make the piece look as interesting as the one, or there are several, I'll try to put a few on the screen, that she has made herself. So I think what it looks like is beautifully busy fabric. And if she has the lines to it, it's like different kinds of fabrics are sort of laid over each other. And I think it is such an interesting effect. So the thing that scares me about it is that I have to pick the colors and that I have to pick the motifs. But most of all, it has to look a little bit busy. And when I design something myself, or I make anything myself, it's quite straight. I like straight lines. But in this case, it has to overlap, and it has to sometimes be a bit crooked. So that's what scares me, because that's not something I would do myself. So, but I'm very determined to try it. So I've decided it's going to be a big piece for me, because I like it when it's bigger. And this is an 18 count Ada. And I think it's off-white. And I've started with a border. Now my border is very basic. It's just squares. The colors don't come out very nice. I hope you can see it like this. But I want it to be very bright. So I picked a very bright pink and a very bright blue. And you can see the lines that I have stitched through. Those are going to be my cutoff lines. So it's going to basically end here, and then the motifs on that side will be completely different. So it looks like this is a different piece of fabric than this piece. So I'm going to try this, and I have no idea what this will be. And again, I want it to be very bright and very bold, lots of color. And I might also use other motifs, because I was looking at my Doreen Jones cards, and I thought one of those birds would go perfectly in there somewhere. So I might want to use bits and pieces from other patterns and put it in here, as long as it's nice and colorful and bright and it suits the style. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this one is going to be a challenge to see if I can do it in the not straight way. We'll see. We will see. This is not that interesting yet. But I have made a start and I'm happy about that. And we'll see how I get on. Now, if anyone knows anyone else who's doing this, please let me know, because I would love to see their pieces. Because everything comes out differently, obviously, because you can just choose your own. Right, then we get into all the WIPs. So we had our new starts, and now we get into all my WIPs. Those of you who have watched my videos, obviously, you won't necessarily see anything new from this point on, but you will see some that you haven't seen for a while, and you'll see my progress, because I have been stitching quite a lot over the past weeks, because in the Netherlands, during this period of time, we have quite a lot of extra days off. So coming Monday again is a day off. So yeah, this period is good for that. So this is my artisy, and this was my first big piece where I thought I'm just gonna go for it. It is a mini, so it's not as big as some people are making it. There are quite a few people who do these massive full coverage. I have started one. I have put it away because I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. But this piece I love. It's because of all these colors that sort of come together in this lovely piece. It's stitched on 16 count Aida with DMC. I don't know how many colors it has in it, but quite a lot. And I still don't have a color finish. I am almost at 80%, so I'm nearly there. And I'm currently stitching over the full width of it. So I've done quite a lot here around the tree. I've worked it up. But I've also done a little bit here. I've done some more around the lantern. So yeah, I've basically worked everywhere now. And slowly but surely I am creeping up to eventually a finish. But that will take a little while longer. I think I have about 4,000, maybe less than 4,000 stitches left. I think less than 4,000 stitches left now. And that doesn't sound like much, but on this piece it is still quite a bit, because it's a lot of confetti. And for some reason, I was already stuck here at some point because the confetti was just incredible. Confetti here, confetti there is again a similar state as it was here. So I do go very, very slowly and I take my time. But I love it. It's very pretty. It genuinely looks like there's water on the floor, on the ground. So yeah, I'm loving this piece. From Artisy again. And they have more minis from, the artist is Leonid Afremov. They have more minis from his artwork. So I might one day stitch another one of those. Now this is one I haven't worked on this time because I just haven't had time. This is by UB Designs. That is a German company. And UB Designs has interesting, very different patterns. So if you're looking for something quirky, something new, they are very good to check out because it is different. This is where I was last time. That's where I still am. But since this is a WIP parade, I'm showing you everything I've got. And I still like this. I still like the colors. I'm stitching this on 19 count. Sorry, that doesn't exist. 16 count Aida. and I'm using DMC 2 strands of floss. And it covers nicely. And all the red somehow comes together very nicely. And it's quite modern. I find their patterns quite modern. I have another one of theirs in my stash with little roses. So I'll get there one day. Now the next one I haven't stitched on for a very long time, and I've seen quite a lot of people say, "Oh, I've done a bit on my Farben des Frühlings, which is Colors of Spring by Historische Stickmuster. I've done Colors of the Water, and I went straight into Colors of Spring, and then I stopped, and I don't know why. I just haven't had. Well, maybe I do know why, and I'll explain it to you. Because there is one thing I am not sure about. So this is where I am. And as you can see in the light green area, where am I? You saw nothing there, did you? In the light green area, there is a very light beige, off-white color that is used for the motifs. And this is a white Ada 20 count. And then I recently started working on an ivory Ada. And then I thought, wouldn't this be nicer on an ivory Ada? Because the color of these little motifs is very similar to the ivory Ada. And wouldn't that look better than on the white? Because somehow I find that this clashes a little bit with the white. And because all of the motifs over here are in that color, I've been wondering whether I should start again, but then start on an ivory. So maybe that's what's been holding me up. The fact that I don't like the way this looks on white. Maybe that's why. So again, feel free to comment on that and let me know what you would do. If you would continue on the white or whether you would continue on ivory or a different color, maybe a completely different color. But I love this pattern. It's very, very sweet. And again, my favorite floss is the Soie d'Alger. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful floss. And this again is stitched completely in Soie d'Alger, similar to the colors of the water. And it is stitched with one strand on the 20 count. Now the next one is one that I started and I'm not sure whether I'm going to continue it. And the reason for that is that this is a complicated pattern. It is by Luca-S and it is very pretty, but it's complicated. I cannot put it in Pattern Keeper. And for some reason I have trouble reading their patterns. And it's because it's just black and white. Some of the symbols are very similar. It's quite small. And I find it very difficult to read their pattern. So I don't know if I will ever get back to this or get into a flow with this. I guess that's what you're looking for, really. And that's my start. Very pretty leaf. Yeah, I don't know if I will ever find a flow with this one. We'll see. For now, this is all I have. And because it is also an autumn knee pattern, I wouldn't be surprised if I would look at this for a while longer. Because the weather is now obviously beautiful, moving into spring and summer. And I always thought I wouldn't be a seasonal stitcher, but it turns out that I am. Because the moment the sun came out, I grabbed a pattern that was very yellow and very bright. And yeah, so I guess I am a seasonal stitcher after all. So I don't know what to do with that one. I don't know. The next one is another one that I'm not sure what to do with. I love this one. I think it is so pretty with the little village and the little house. I like the colors, but this is stitched on even weave and I am not a fan of even weave. I have stitched the water completely and I am now basically down to stitching some houses and some greenery. But yeah, it's just the even weave that is not inviting me to grab this piece and stitch on it. because I don't enjoy it as much as Ada. I started on this piece because of the print that they have around it. As you can see, it's sort of bluish. As the scene is printed around it. And that was the only reason why I thought, well, you know what, I should stitch this on this even weave that it comes with, rather than switching it out, which is what I mostly do with a kit. And this was a kit by Lanarte, as you can see here, a Lanarte kit. So yeah, I don't know about this one. It is pretty, I won't deny that, but I don't know if I'm the person who should stitch it. And again, that's just the fabric. That's the only reason. It's interesting how sometimes you start a piece and you think, oh, that's going to be my favorite. And then after a while of working on it, you think, well, actually, it's not. And I just keep finding that interesting, and also how my taste changes throughout a month, even throughout a week. There are days that all I want to do is stitch something that is very symmetrical, very easy, one color. You know, the Biscuit Nu from Modern Folk Embroidery is something that during my holiday I loved stitching that. And then when I came back, I finished it. Haven't started the second one yet because there were other things I was suddenly called to stitch. So I think it's interesting how you sort of change your taste and what you want to stitch. Yeah, over the days and over the weeks. Now this one is by Jackie Beau, and this is a winter scene. And I love it, but it's a winter scene and it's spring, almost summer. So I haven't stitched on this for quite a while, but I still love this piece and I think I will finish it. My main bugbear is that the fabric is a bit dirty in the middle, and I prefer not to wash my Ada. I think you can see it like this. It's just not entirely clean. And I won't wash my Ada whilst I'm stitching, so but that does bug me when I'm working on it. So we'll see. We'll see. But I love the pattern. His pattern is lovely. He's got a lot of lovely patterns. It very much reminds me of Marjolein Bastin. It's a drawing style that's very nice to stitch. So yeah, I have started this on a grayish 18 count and have enjoyed it whilst it was still wintry weather. And then the seasons changed and I put this one away for next season, basically. And I look forward to stitching on it then, because this is a lovely piece. And it goes quite quickly as well. It goes quite quickly. So yeah, we'll see that one later on again. Right, then we move into pieces that I have stitched on recently. Are we? Let me just check. I think there's one more that I haven't stitched on for a long time. And I have already gotten it out because I know a lot of you do Christmas in July. And I have decided to do that as well this year for one reason and one reason only. And that is because I want to finish my tablecloth. So I have been stitching a tablecloth. This is by Rico Designs, and it has an Ada strip in the cotton, and you can basically just stitch on that. Let me just see, try to get it in fully. There you go. And I have 1/4 left to do, so you stitch the same quarter 4 times. And I have 1/4 left to do, and I thought, why don't I stitch that during the summer holidays, which is a little bit of July, mostly August. So it probably will be Christmas in August for me, which is a bit weird, but it seems like the right time to stitch this and just put it out on my table and stitch a little bit every day on this. It does go quickly. I remember that last time as well. I think it took me a couple of days to stitch an 1/8 of this. So yeah, it won't take that long. And it is so pretty. This will be lovely during Christmas to put that out. So I look forward to finishing this because it looks a bit weird like this and have one empty spot. And again, it's a beautiful pattern. Yeah. And I have another tablecloth that I would like to start at some point. It's very summery. But I have decided one tablecloth at a time. And I have decided to finish this one first. And again, the whole idea of Christmas in July/August sounds like a good moment to try this out. So that's that one. Right, let's have a sip of tea. I hope all of you are watching with something to drink and something to stitch as well. And if you are comfortable enough, please tell me what you are actually stitching on, because I love hearing whether it is something that you've seen on a Flosstube, or in some cases, it's a pattern that I don't know, and then I can learn and decide whether I need a new start, which I don't really. This is my landmarks piece. Those of you who've watched my Flosstubes before have seen this piece before, and every time I add one or two of these little ones. And those of you, I know sometimes people just watch WIP parades. Those of you who are new, this is from Etsy. Don't remember who it's from. TeenyWeenyXStitch or something? No, I don't know. I'll put it in my description box. And she has a packet of 60 of these landmarks. And I'm not going to stitch all of them. I think I'm going to stitch about 54 on one piece of fabric, so that it becomes one big piece. It's stitched on 18 count, so it's quite small, and I stitch it with 2 strands of DMC. And as you can see, for those of you who've watched previous videos, I have added the Great Wall of China, and I've added the Taj Mahal, the ones here. I love this piece. I think it is so, so pretty. When I started this, I thought it would be nice. I didn't think it would be this nice. I didn't think I would have this much fun stitching it. The next one I'm going to do in that empty spot there is going to be the Eiffel Tower, because that one spoke to me and I thought I'm just going to do it. So that one's going to go there. I love it. I love this piece. The colors all sort of blend in together. So I have one big pack of floss, and then for each little one I pick the right colors from that pack. But there are several colors that come back in almost every piece. So that's the 3033, so sort of a light beige, the 747, which is a very lovely light blue. From the greens, there are quite a few that come back again and again. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving this one. The thing is also, when I look at it like this on the screen, it's even better than in real life. Yeah, love this. Love this. Very pretty. If you're interested in making these, they're 45 by 39, and the patterns do differ. So sometimes it is 44 by 39, so I have to add in a row myself. That's somewhere in the piece. Sometimes it's 45 by 40, so I have to take off one row. So it does. You do need to, when you start stitching, you do have to check so that it falls perfectly in line with the rest. And then I have one row, basically one stitch that I leave open. And I don't know yet if I'm going to stitch that with one specific color. I have no idea yet. To be honest, I think when I look at it like this, it's fine like this. It doesn't need anything else. I really enjoyed stitching the Great Wall of China. has a lot of green in, and it has such pretty depth. It goes like you can see the wall going back into the distance. And then the Taj Mahal, because it's just, it's just pretty. And I look forward to the Eiffel Tower. Can't wait. Can't wait for that one. Be lovely there. So yes, moving on with this one. And it's one of my favorite pieces. It's one of these that I grab in the mornings before I go to work, just because it's easy and it has nice colors in and it's small, so it feels like I'm working towards a finish. All of that. Now, I said to you earlier, I sometimes find a piece again and then I stitch on it for days on end. I did that with this piece, and that happened the previous time as well. It's Wildflowers by Marjolein Bastin, and then the company is Lanarte. And I don't stitch on this very often. I don't know why, it's just not on my radar. I look at it and I think, oh no, I'm not going to stitch that one. And then earlier this week, I thought, I am going to stitch that one. And then for the next days, I've been just stitching this. I've just been going back to it, because it is absolutely lovely. And last time we spoke, all I had was that yellow big flower. Oh, let's not throw it into my tea, that would be a shame. Was that yellow flower over here, and I had the border and a little bit of the greenery. So I've worked all the way over here and stitched the purple and blue in there. And I think this is just beautiful. And like I said, I don't know why, but I've been going back to it, thinking, oh, I'll do one more leaf, or I'll do one more little petal. One more. I've got a flower here now. And when I was due to stitch that, I thought, now it's time to put it away. I've had enough for now. So I've put it away. Look how pretty. I love it. For a long time, when I saw the pattern, I thought this was a butterfly sort of sniffing the flower, but it isn't. It is a flower. I think we call it a viooltje in Dutch. I think violet in English. Isn't that lovely? And the border is very pretty as well. Obviously, I have to finish it. And the border is stitched with one strand of DMC, and then the flower in the middle is stitched with 2 strands of DMC. And I swapped the fabric, which was an even weave, for an 18 count Ada. So it ends up relatively small, because I think the even weave was 28, so it would be a bit bigger. Which also means I'm quite easy with floss, because usually I'm very, I want to save it, so I use it even when I don't have enough left on the needle, and I keep struggling to get the needle through, but now I don't have to do that, which is nice. But I love this piece. Again, it's been a joy over the past days. I've really loved stitching on it. And it's interesting again how your taste can then suddenly move to a piece like this, and then suddenly it's gone and you want something else. But the color spoke to me, the pattern spoke to me. It just worked. And I did quite a bit of work on this. Happy with that. Very happy with that. And those of you who don't know me yet, I love stitching flowers. That is absolutely my favorite thing to do. Now the next one, and excuse the thread, is Moonlit Garden by Kathy for Gracewood stitches. And this is a bigger piece than I realized when I started it. So it is quite a piece to stitch, but it is very, very pretty and very, very elegant. And I stitched this on an 18 count, and I used Soie d'Alger white. And I have finished the second border, which is much smaller than the first one. but I finished the full border. And so this is where we are right now. And again, this just is beautiful. This speaks to me. Look how pretty that is. And again, this floss is so pretty and is so nice to work with. I use one strand and the coverage is perfect on an 18 count. I was worried about that too when I started, thinking, it might not be enough, but it is more than enough. And I look forward to starting the 3rd row on this. But it is a very big piece because, look, got all this to go. But yeah, look how pretty that is. This is going to be beautiful. But it takes time, it takes a lot of time. And it's, there are days that when I was stitching this, it was just too difficult because this was a difficult row. This one was a lot easier, but still a lot of counting. So you do need to focus with this one, even though it's only one color, so it seems easy. And it's repetitive, so again, it seems easy, but somehow you have to keep counting to make it work. The border is easy. So if you want an afternoon of easy stitching, the border would be perfect. But yeah, this is a piece also that I do quite slowly, so I don't do a lot of stitches every month on this. When I stitch it, I fall in love with it all over again. It's so pretty. Yeah. So that's that one. I love it. I don't know how many pieces we've had by now, but quite a lot. So I need more hours in the day to stitch everything I want to stitch. Because these are just the pieces that I've actually started, let alone all the pieces I want to start. It's ridiculous, really. The next one is Petit Carré, and I've been working on Petit Carré quite steadily over the past weeks and months. And I will put it on the screen. Lynn Pouchon is the one who designed it, and she stitched it in red and blue. And I changed the colors. And if you are interested in my colors, then please just leave a comment or send me an email, and I will let you know my color scheme. This is all with DMC colors. And as you can see, last time I spoke to you, I was halfway. And now I have moved past the halfway point, and I have continued the border and stitched 2 more of the blocks. And these are also blocks that I might use 1 or 2 in my mix and match piece. So the one where I just have to wing it, basically. So these might be useful for that too. Aren't these lovely? And the colors, I love these colors, and I've been loving working with them. Can you see something like this? No, I still struggle with that. I hope this is visible for you. It's very lovely. I stitched this on an 18 count Ada white. I think it's off-white actually. I got it from a shop nearby. They have 14 count and 18 count, but the white is not as white as the ones that I buy online. So I think it's an off-white. I love this one. It also becomes very elegant and very bright. And I think that's with most of the stitches, that at some point it becomes just lovely, but you have to get to that point. So sometimes that means you have to keep going even when you're not sure about the piece. But yeah, I'm sure about this piece now. And I think I will make it into a pillow in the end. We'll see about that. Finishing is not my main concern usually. I just love stitching. It's still so relaxing, isn't it? It's so lovely to just work with colors and make something pretty. When I go on holiday, well, when I travel, whenever I travel by train, I tend to grab this piece, which is Kaleidoscope by Vivstes on Etsy. And this is a piece where I'd finished another piece by Vistas and I like her designs. But I wanted the kaleidoscope that she had at the time in different color schemes, and I wanted it in a rainbow color scheme. So I asked her, and she was kind enough to provide. And currently this is where I am. So I am moving slowly but surely into more green, away from the dark blue. Yeah, it's lovely. It's becoming lovelier as I stitch it. And I can do quite a lot on a journey all the way to Groningen, which is about 6 hours by train. And again, this is a lovely piece. It's stitched on 16 count Aida, this one. It covers okay. The coverage looks nicer on the screen than it really does in real life. It is okay, but if you want a perfect coverage, I would have gone for an 18 count. I go for a 16 count because that's my sweet spot. And in a train where lighting is often not great, and my focus isn't always as great, I use a 16 count. And yeah, I do like this pattern. It's very easy. It's just all these different shapes. So you just check the pattern wherever you have to go, and then you can stitch for a while without looking at the pattern, which is perfect for train ride, really. So there you go. That's my kaleidoscope. And I have quite a lot of traveling to do over the coming weeks because I have all these conferences and I don't know, whatever. And we have all of that in the country. So I live in Zeeland, which is quite an, it's basically the end of the Netherlands. I once was in a train and the conductor said literally, we're at the end of the Netherlands. So, and it feels like that as well, because when we have to go to conferences, it's always quite a journey. It's easily 2, 3, 4 hours to get there. And I know some of you are from America and 4 hours of travel is nothing, but I'm from the Netherlands and 4 hours is a lot of traveling. Yeah, that comes with the territory of living in Zeeland. My next piece that I'm going to show you, and we are getting there. I've got three left to show you, and then I have some haul and stitchy kindness as well, and some plans that I have. But first, Magic Needle is my favorite kit provider, and I will put on the screen what I'm working on currently, which is Roses for a Needlewoman or something. And I took this with me to Terschelling and had quite a few lovely stitching sessions with my mum, mind you, and she had just found a new pattern, so she was working out the colors, and yeah, lovely pattern, by the way. And I stitched on this one. And I wasn't sure about the hat at first, but I decided to just stitch it, and it is cute. I've stitched 2 of the pins, got a few more to go. Those are a bit annoying because they have about 4 different colors in that little tiny bit. But yeah, I keep going. It's not a difficult stitch. It's as Magic Needle goes, it's absolutely lovely, lovely stitch. I swapped the fabric it came with, which was a bit of yellowish 14 count with a white 16 count. I love stitching on white. It is my first go-to color. And only if I feel that a different color is needed, that's when I go to a different color. But I don't do that very quickly, especially not with flowers, because I don't know, I just love doing that on white. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't that lovely? Lovely colors as well. I love that hat. Shading is very nice on that hat. Very happy with this stitch. And again, very flowery because I love my flowers. The next one is my spring sampler by Zara Designs on Etsy. And this is a piece that I decided to stitch on black Ada 18 count. I've been struggling with black Ada, but because it is now sunnier, because we are moving to spring, or we are in spring and going to summer, if the sun is shining quite brightly and it shines into my house, it's actually it's a lot better to see. So when over the weekend, I thought I'm just going to go and stitch a bit more on that piece. And I did quite a bit more because usually I do 1 or 2 flowers and I call it a day. But now I have done all of this motif. And this is, for those who've not watched it before, this is a difficult piece. It has a lot of color changes. So for instance, this little drop here has 4 colors in it. This little thingy here has about 5. So you have to constantly swap your colors. But I think this is very, very pretty. And it will only get prettier. I have no doubt. I did enjoy stitching this bit. For some reason, it was very pleasant to stitch that. Now this one, again, I got from Jessica Stitches. And I think that's a very, very cute needle liner. Very pretty. Let's just see that the light gets it right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I do grab this once in a while and I make some progress. This is not a piece that will go very, very quickly. I think I'm about 20% on this piece at the moment. But yeah, I just take it slow, bit by bit, and at some point this will be absolutely stunning. But for now, I was very proud to have done all this and not having struggled with the light as much as I did before. So yeah, maybe this is also a seasonal piece and I should just stitch on it when the sun is out. Right, my last piece is Moon Deer. And Moon Deer is by Owl Forest Embroidery. And that is, I think, one of the prettiest pieces I've ever seen. And I fell in love with it the moment I saw it. And I started it as soon as I could. And I'm stitching this on Ada Ivory. And I've also changed the colors and the floss. So they use Owl Forest floss. And I swapped it to Weeks Dye Works. Again, if you like my color conversion and you would be interested, just leave me a comment and I will let you know which ones I am using. I did not try to change the colors. I tried to match the colors with the ones they have. And so I have stitched the deer, basically, without a head. That's next up. And I've stitched some of these leaves, these ones, and then there's 3 more coming up here. So it's not finished at all, but yeah, it felt like a place to stop and move on to something else for a bit. But this is gorgeous stitching. The body of the deer has 2 colors in it. So I'm using, I think, whiskey and driftwood. And so you keep stitching that motif. And then you also have little squares of driftwood everywhere. So that sort of adds to the motif. And it just, when I first started, I wasn't sure. And then I kept going and I thought this is going to be beautiful. And I still use the technique that one of you advised me. And again, thank you very much for that advice. Stitch the outside of something that is just one of the colors and then just stitch the inside quite randomly. So that it doesn't become stripy, but it just gets a lovely variegation. And so that's exactly what I have done. Isn't that pretty? I love this piece. It's very tall, so I'm not nearly halfway, but I'm really enjoying it. And the deer went so much quicker than I thought. So next time I hope to have a head on the deer, and I hope to have finished those leaves. And I don't know if I'm gonna then do the borders for a bit, or whether I want to do the whole, how do you call that on the deer? Het gewei? I don't know. I don't know. It'll come to me. I will, at some point, this Flosstube will be finished and then it will come to me. That's how it works. Deer remind me of Charlcote House. I used to live in England and I lived in Stratford-upon-Avon, which is where Shakespeare was born. And near there, you have Charlcote House. And it's an old house that you can visit, and they've restored the rooms as to they were, I don't know when. But they had a lot of deer, just roaming the grounds, basically. And I've been there quite a few times, just sat there, and then the deers would be wandering around. So the deer reminds me very much of that. And I loved going there. It's very pretty. There you go. The little needle minder was a gift. And I will tell you more about that later on. But it fits the colors nicely, and I decided that this was the perfect piece to use that gift on. And this is a lovely, lovely piece. Again, it is bigger than you might think. It's quite stitch heavy as well. And like the deer, it was several stitching sessions I've been working on it. But that's okay. I'm pretty sure that when this one's finished, I'll be quite sad actually, because it's really nice stitching. I have decided that this is a piece that I will want to frame. So put a proper frame from a framer. So I will have to save some money for that, because that is expensive. Right. I told you about the green soie d'Alger I had to buy for my biscornu. And you don't buy just one strand of floss, or one skein of floss rather. So I decided to look for the magic needle kits that I love. And this was on holiday. I had a day where I was just basically tired and just hanging around the house, and I decided to purchase a kit. And this was the kit I purchased. And I can't wait to stitch that one. Now this will have to wait. So I don't want to have several magic needles at the same time going. But once the one's finished that I'm working on, I might start this one. I have two, this one and another one I have currently in my stash. But this one is beautiful. Look at that. Now this is stitched on a grey. I quite like the grey, but I think it will look nice on white as well. And I think this is on a 14 count, but I will swap the fabric anyway, but I might swap it to a grey, we'll see. I think it's very, very pretty. And I like the colours. Love the colours actually. So I look forward to stitching this one. So I bought that. Because I don't have enough to stitch, I bought that. It's ridiculous really. And then I was, before the biscornu, I thought, how am I going to display that? And I've been looking at quite a lot of videos over the past year and a half, 2 years, where people have those lovely, lovely pins, and they have something pretty on the pins. And I've never seen those in the Netherlands. I just think they are lovely. And I thought, can I make that myself? And then I found that there were quite a lot of tutorials on it. So I can make it myself, but then I couldn't find the right pins for it. So I had to look abroad for that. But I have found some pins, and these are still, I'm just using this so you can actually see it. So this is the pin. It has a slight little round top, and then it has a cover at the bottom. And I think they call these hat pins. And and some call it flower pins or bouquet pins or something. And now all I'm looking for now is nice beads to put on here. And what I really like is when it has something hanging down from it. So I have to see how I make that. And I don't think I will get to that before my summer holiday, but this will be something lovely to do during my summer holiday. Because I work in higher education, so we have, in the Netherlands, we have 5 weeks of summer holiday, which is quite long. And very, very nice. And so then I will look into how to make these kinds of things. So I think they'll be lovely because I have quite a few pillows around, and I've always thought, wouldn't it be lovely to have a nice pin in that, a fancy pin? So now I can make that. So that's what I did get as well. So that is something to think about and wonder how to get there. And then this lovely lady. We have been in touch over Facebook. She watches my Flosstubes as well. And she contacted me and she said, I'm doing a Hardanger class. Would you be interested in trying some Hardanger? And I thought, yeah, I would be quite interested because I've seen beautiful Hardanger pieces thinking, I love that, but I don't know how to do that. And this lovely lady said, I have 2 booklets of this, and you are very welcome to some of these materials. Now, I think some of this was stitched, not some of this. This whole training class is done by Julie. And Julie is another Flosstuber. And I now suddenly have this booklet from Julie. So thank you very much for that. And I've been looking through this again. I think this is something I will do during my summer holiday because let's be honest, Hardanger is difficult and I will need proper focus to do this. And I've been looking through this booklet thinking, oh, that's actually more difficult than I thought it would be. Also, I will have to stitch it on Hardanger fabric. Now, I bought Hardanger fabric when I was aiming to stitch a full count, the full coverage, sorry, by Heaven and Earth Designs. I picked a beautiful pattern, decided I didn't like it, so at some point I discontinued it. But this was the fabric I bought for it at first. I eventually went with the 20 count Ada, but I bought the 22 count Hardanger and never used it because I didn't like it to stitch on, especially not such a big piece. But because with Hardanger you have to pull the threads out, I have checked it. I can't really do that with Ada. It'd be way more difficult. And you have to cut past it, all of it. So that won't look great, I'm sure. So I've pulled out that fabric, and this is just a piece of it, and I will try and stitch it on this. And then I received, as part of this kit and Stitchy Kindness, the most gorgeous color, DMC Ballet Pearl? Don't know. Isn't that pretty? It's beautiful old pink. And this is one of my absolute favorite colors. I think it's beautiful. And so I will stitch it with this. And then I haven't really looked yet whether the pattern should be a completely different color from the Hardanger on the inside, but I will have to figure that out as I go along. And I will, I don't know if Julie has any Hardanger tutorials on YouTube, but if there are, I will find them. And I will figure it out. So yeah. I think it's a beautiful design, by the way. Even without the Hardanger, I just love the stitching. I don't know yet if I will stitch it like this because I like my symmetry, and these are 4 different corners. So I might choose one corner and stitch it 4 times, or choose 2 corners and stitch both 2 times. I don't know yet. But isn't that lovely? As a present, which I think is just the sweetest thing, to just receive such a present with the floss and the fabric, mind you. There was also a bit of fabric in there, and there were needle minders in there, and there were needles in there, a tiny little bag that I can put my floss in, and this as well, which is great inspiration for my pins, because this is incredibly cute. Isn't that cute? It has these lovely little beads, lovely little scissors. There you go. How lovely is that? So that was a present, just like that, and I thought that was incredibly sweet. And thank you very much for sending me this. I'm always surprised when people suddenly do that, because it's so kind. And this lovely lady, and I'll say her first name, which is Margaret. Thank you very much, Margaret, for sending me all this, and I will look into this. But like I said, it seems more difficult than something I would just do on an evening. So I will do this during my summer holidays and look forward to doing this and see if I like it, if I enjoy stitching like that and doing the harding part of it. So that's that. And I think, oh, there's one more thing, and that's my giveaway from last time. I gave away 2 Oscar Weeks Dye Works skeins, and it was going to go to Susanne CrossStitcher. And so far she hasn't contacted me yet. So Susanne, if you're watching and you would still like to receive this, send me an email. And if you haven't contacted me by next Flosstube, I will find another winner and I will redirect it. But if you haven't had a chance yet to look at my previous Flosstube, then I fully understand. So please contact me if you hear this. And I think that's that. That's all my WIPs, everything that's in my pile of things to do, things that I want to stitch. Now there are way more things that I want to stitch, and I haven't decided yet whether maybe on Monday, if I have time, I will film a video with all the patterns that I have in my stash that I want to stitch. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I might. We'll see. If I get to that, I look forward to seeing you there. If I don't, I look forward to seeing you on my next Flosstube, which will probably be in about 3 weeks. And I again would like to thank you for watching, for taking the time. This Flosstube, but for those who've been watching over the past year, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you next time.